No, really.
Let's talk about the driving trip you took in 1949 to California. When did you get the idea to go?
I don't remember when I got the idea, but I had it in my head a long time that when I get to be 20, 21 years old, I'm going to go to California. And a couple of years before that, I bought a 29 Model A, and I was the second owner. I knew the man that bought it, a fellow named Bill Purcell. And it sat in his garage for I don't know how many years. It had about 40,000 miles on it when I bought it, and I paid two prices for it, but I knew who had it, and I wanted it, so I bought it. So it ran good, and I thought, well, I'm going to go to California, and I was always fussy who I palled around with. I was mighty fussy. I never went anywhere with anybody. So I was going to go alone. And Hedy was working in a restaurant in Monroe. And she says, if I quit my job for a while, can I go along? I says, yeah, I'd be happy to have you. And she didn't drive yet at that time. I did the driving. So we took off the 3rd of January, 1949. Snowing and a-blowing. And I says, well, the first order of business is to get the hell out of this cold weather. And we went over on Highway 59 and headed south. And they got as far the first day as DuQuoin, Illinois. That's pretty near on the other end. And the guy come out to pump gas in his shirt sleeves. I thought, this just ain't too bad. So I drove another day and a half. I drove clear to Jackson, Mississippi, before I ever headed west. Then I headed west and got over to eastern Texas. Where are you from? I says, well, southern Wisconsin. Well, you're about halfway between home and the other end of Texas. And I drove 2.5 days to get to El Paso. Yeah. But we just had the best time. And we went up through New Mexico and Arizona. One of the biggest disappointments was Yuma. I had always heard about Yuma, big deal. Well, hell, there was nothing there but sagebrush and sand. And then we went west from there into California. And they stopped the vehicle, and I had to put chains on to get over the mountain pass in the snow. So we did that, and we got up to the top and took the chains off again and headed down. And an hour later, we were down in the Imperial Valley where they were picking lettuce. And then over the last rise, the last town I can remember there was El Cajon up on top of that mountain. And I could look down across to the west, and there was the Pacific Ocean. And to me, that was a thrill and a half. Then we fooled around there. We had friends there to stop to see. And then we went north up to San Francisco area, and then further up to Redding, pretty near up to Oregon. We had some friends up there. Went up there with Uncle Fred. And then in due time went all the way back down to San Diego and then home. And it was a trip of a lifetime.
Tell us about seeing the spruce goose.
Oh yeah, the spruce goose. I was always a fan of Howard Hughes. And I remember when he first flew that in
The only time he flew.
That's the only time, in 1947. I think it was in November. But anyway, they had that in a hangar. And I drove up at the old Model A. I said, I want to see the spruce goose. Do you have a pass from Howard Hughes? I says, no. Well, then you can't come in. He says, but you can take a harbor cruise and see it from the other side. So that's what we did. So I saw it there. I did not see it again until, when was it that we went to Oregon?
2008.
Yeah. They had moved it up to Oregon State. on barges. And they put it all together, and when they had it put together where they wanted it and how they wanted it, they built a hangar around it. So that's where that machine is now. And Nancy and I sat in it. So I got a picture of me, and Nancy has one also behind the controls of the Spruce Goose. Yeah, he was something else.
And didn't you say when you were in San Francisco, you visited the Turner Hall there?
Yes, I visited the Turner Hall there and worked out with some of those athletes there, and they would have liked to have me stay. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of neat.
And when did you get home? How long were you gone?
I was gone for near 6 weeks.
And did you have any trouble with the car?
Very little.
Flat tires?
Flat tires, lots of them. Lots of flat tires.
What did you have to do to fix the tires? Patch them?
Patch them or take them someplace, but that was the biggest problem. But otherwise, mechanically, it worked good. Yeah. And I never regretted taking that trip. Yeah.
And didn't you tell me when you got back you had $20 left in the world?
Yep. Yes. Yes.
About how much did the trip cost?
Well, you could get quite a bit for $1 in them days, but I think I had $300-400 total, and Hedy had $250 or whatever. Oh, the first time we stopped down in Du Quoin, we got a nice room with 2 beds and a thick carpet for $5. Yeah. Yeah.